Andy Hill won 3 straight national championships as a reserve guard under John Wooden at UCLA from 1970 to 1972. But it was an idea after his time in Westwood that still impacts basketball today and turned his strained relationship with Coach Wooden into a lifelong friendship. The Team Contribution Index, known today as the plus-minus.
Right.
Your creation and invention. Why?
Well, I was coaching at Santa Monica College. We had this little guy who said he was 5'4", which means he's 5'3", but he was a winner. He did all the little things you needed as a coach to win the game. I thought, well, how do I convince the guy I'm working with that we got the wrong guy out there?
I said, it's not worth it. Go 3 minutes of playing time for 15 hours of practice. Coach Andy, I always will call him Coach, said, hey, just give it a chance. I got your back. I'm working on it.
Kotz, well, if he was 5'3" and still playing, he had to be a madman. For guys who don't have that crazed desire, who actually are kind of thinking if I get a dunk and a date, it's a good night, to realize when they come out of the game that what the score is now is your responsibility.
It's almost like the plus-minus measures heart.
Yes, that's exactly what it does. Scoring is secondary. I could go a whole game without shooting the basketball, long as our team is winning.
So I wrote up this article, and then by the time I wrote it up, I thought, this is so obvious that somebody else must be doing this.
With that, plus-minus was born, now a staple in basketball box scores. Its origins trace back to Andy Hill's Team Contribution Index in 1976. And there was one man that Hill was sure would know if this was groundbreaking: his former head coach, John Wooden.
I had played for him. I didn't like him. He didn't like me, or at least I thought so much. I had felt wrongly, of course, I'm 75 now, not a kid anymore, wrongly, that this UCLA experience had been a terrible failure on my part. I'd gone there to play, and I sat on the bench as part of the greatest dynasty in the history of sports. But I knew that Coach Wooden knew everybody in basketball, and if this idea was out there, he'd know because it's so obvious. And I was shaken like a leaf because it was kind of like reopening a Pandora's box I'd closed. I'd sort of dealt with this and closed the box, but I got to find out. And I go see him, and he reads the article very studiously, and he looks up at me and he goes, "This is great." Now, you have to understand, this was not what I heard from John Wooden very much. It was like, "This is great? Wow, really?" And he said, "Yeah, this is a great idea." And I sent it in to Scholastic Coach, which meant that it landed on the desk of every high school coach in America.
But it wasn't until 1996 that Hill realized the impact Coach Wooden had on him.
You were on a golf course, right? When someone said something to you that clicked, that reminded you of Wooden's teachings.
Right.
Tell me that story.
At Sino Golf Course, 16th hole, par 4. I know right where I am, and I'm standing over the ball with about a 200-yard shot into the green. And the guy I was with said to me, "Andy, slow down, get your balance." He's like, whoa, Coach Wooden is back, you know. And then the next thing he said was, "You're hurrying your swing." And it was like, you know, Coach was Obi-Wan Kenobi sitting there on my shoulder. I hit it to about 1.5 feet. And in that moment, I realized I got to call this guy.
The two became close friends, writing a book together titled Be Quick But Don't Hurry, and it all started with Hill's article.
What did the experience of going into Coach Wooden's office, handing that article to him, having him say, "This is a great idea," and then partnering together years later to write the book together and rebuild that relationship, what did that rectify for you on a personal level?
It really helped me put my whole life back together. I mean, this was a guy who I had really hoped to gain his approval. And later in life, I gained not just his approval, but his real friendship. He was sort of somewhere between a grandpa and a dad and a best friend, and, you know, sort of the best of all three of them. And I miss him. I really do.
You know, I love this story because it's the healing of a relationship between player and coach that came years after he walked away from UCLA, and he was able to mend the fences with Coach Wooden and have this beautiful relationship. But I don't know if you noticed, Kotz, when I was interviewing him, he was pretty emotional. Yeah. And I asked him afterwards, why are you emotional? Well, about a year ago, Ben Bolch wrote an article in the LA Times about the plus minus, and that's what gave him the idea to do this story. And Kotz said he had lost touch with Coach Hill all these years. But a year ago, when the article showed up in the LA Times, people started messaging him, hey, Kotz, you know, Andy Hill gave you credit for the plus minus. So Andy Hill then Kotz reaches out to his old coach, Andy Hill, and then they become friends again. Wow. He gets some of the old teammates together. And to me, it was about the plus minus, and then it became so much more. It was how the mentor and mentee relationship can last through decades and just, you know, give these men an opportunity to reconnect. And now Kotz is spending as much time as he can with Andy Hill. And I just think it's such a beautiful story. And by the way, Kotz, who at 5'3", his coach at Santa Monica College kind of wanted him off the team. He wasn't getting any playing time. Well, he went on to not just get the playing time because of Andy Hill, but now he's involved presently in Asian basketball leagues throughout Los Angeles. So he's sharing his love of the game with the Asian community. And you know, it's all about basketball, but it's all about these relationships and that coach relationship that's so important, which you guys know.
Well, we use that here at CBS. When you're on the show,
Plus.
our ratings go where, Byron?
About 98%.
98% up.
About 98.
That's a great plus.
Way up. Yep, about 98. Yeah.
I love you guys.